Hello and welcome to a new episode of Other Record Labels. I'm your host, Scott Orr, where we talk about the art and culture of running a record label, and we're taking the mystery out of how record labels work. And this whole series is about sync licensing. This is part of our Summer of Sync series. But if you're just catching in or tuning in months later, or just kind of want to learn a little bit about sync licensing, today's episode is an interview with Christine Leslie, who works at this music production house called TA2 in Toronto, and they're probably one of the leaders in this field. And they're the kind of company, we go deep into this and some incredible insights in the world of music for advertising. And that's kind of what we're focusing on today. In my interview with Christine, we talk about how ad agencies work and how production houses work when it comes to creating bespoke music or looking for just that right track that's going to fit a TV commercial or some sort of advertising opportunity. And so that's the area we're hoping to demystify today for you. Christine is the best guest to have for this subject, and there's some incredible insights. This interview was recorded actually quite a few months ago in preparation for this sync licensing series, and I was just listening back to some of the wise nuggets that I think you're going to absolutely love, and you're going to find helpful for your own situation as an independent artist or as an independent record label looking to get better in the sync licensing world. And on that topic of sync licensing, make sure you download our mega huge free guide to sync licensing for record labels. Just go to otherrecordlabels.com/sync or click the link in the description. So we're covering this topic in depth over the next few months. And it's a topic, the idea of, and I'm really trying to focus in on all the different facets of music licensing and sync licensing. But it's a topic that a lot of folks in our community of record label owners and artists as well have been wanting to learn more about. What makes the concept of music licensing so appealing to artists and labels, in your opinion? I mean, in my experience, it's been so elusive, but for some reason, I still have dreams of getting that big sync deal one day. Why is this topic so appealing, so sexy to artists and labels?
I think for a number of reasons. I mean, the first reason, like you said, could be the big sync, the money. The
payout, yeah.
The payout, depending on, if you're an up-and-coming artist. To have something, some money coming in especially on a commercial. Commercials pay a lot more than long format. So when you land a commercial and all of a sudden you've got a check for 20, 40, 50, sometimes even $100,000. Those are kind of sexy and sweet.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And then the second reason why it's such a great thing to have is, I would say it gets your song out there in a different venue, not just being played on the radio. Imagine being attached to a really cool film or a really cool spot, like the way that Apple kind of put Feist on the map.
100%. Yeah, good point. That's a great point.
I think that's pretty awesome.
Yes, that's right. I never thought of that advertising and even films, it's far less crowded. A film might have 20 songs, an ad would have one, as opposed to, being heard on a Pandora station or in a playlist. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. I remember, the payout is definitely, I think, attractive. I remember 10 or 15 years ago, it was like you get a placement and you pay off your mortgage kind of thing. And I mean, that's probably changed. Certainly mortgages have gotten more expensive.
Oh, yeah, no.
But that used to be the kind of the idea.
Yeah, I had an artist, I worked on Joe Fresh for a while. And the artist we used, and her name escapes me right now. Anyway, about a year after the spot ran, her label and publisher came to visit me, and they were out of New York. And then she was living in Sweden or something like that, the artist. And so the label and publisher said, the artist really wanted to be here to meet you. And I thought, well, that's crazy. Well, if she was in town, great. But I hope she wasn't making the trip. But according to them is that she took all the money that she made from the spot and bought a little church in the town that she lived in and put a recording studio in there.
Oh my goodness.
And so she also offered that to every musician in her town to come in and record for free.
Wow.
And, just to get their music out there. And once I learned that story, I went, it's the most incredible story I had ever heard of somebody.
It changed her life.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
I at that point, I never really thought too much about what happens with the money. And, I just always thought, oh, well, aren't they lucky? They can, do good with it. But I never thought about what could actually happen. So
right, yeah, and I mean, I always think because they're so elusive, I always think that if somebody did get 50 grand or 100 grand, that it really is spread out of 5-10 years, and it just kind of adds to their. But yeah, to think of someone making a big purchase like that and such a life change, that's incredible. I've always wondered from your position, actually, even before we hopped on this call, I used to think, it must be such a nice day for you to email someone and let them know they got the spot. Like that must be, I mean, maybe you're over it now, but it certainly would be a big deal for the artist.
No, it's always a huge deal for me when I can tell somebody that they, we're moving forward with your song.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like a sense of, oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled. For everyone all the way along.
Sure.
So I've always been very supportive of artists. So
yes.
So for me, that it's still a thrill. I don't think I'll ever not be happy for somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm also happy for me too, because I'm relieved that, that everyone, we found something, it works and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that like to give. So
you're like the university admissions person who gets to write the acceptance letters.
That's a good job too.
Yeah, I bet.
That might be my second career.
Okay, can you, just so I get an understanding here, can you really quickly run me through the different ways music can be licensed? From what I understand, music that is used in ads is a little different than a track being placed in a TV show or movie. Are there kind of like within the industry, and I know you specialize in one area specifically, but are there kind of, this category here, this category, are there silos when it comes to licensing?
Yeah, there's a lot. Now, You're right. I do specialize in commercials. Mm-hmm. I've also done TV shows, film. There's gaming.
Okay.
Let's see. I also, which I thought was really super fun, is my clients did an installation, karaoke installation with it was a car company, and it was set up in Dundas Square. And so basically I had to license a bunch of karaoke songs and people were getting into the car and doing carpool karaoke.
Oh, right.
So there's kind of those crazy little things. There's also, some smaller companies want to license your music for other websites.
Okay.
Let me think what else. Definitely.
What about apps and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I find certain apps.
Okay.
But I find that I have worked on a lot of apps, and there's usually not a huge budget.
Right, sure.
So
yeah.
But yeah, there is crazy, and in that area too with licensing, it just keeps growing.
You're right.
So as more unknown media happens, there's still lots of opportunities. There's also, let's say a client, going back to commercials, let's say a client really likes the song that they've licensed for their commercial. They may want to license it for their on hold button.
Oh,
as
okay. Sure. Yeah. Right.
well.
Right. No, that's a good point. Talk to me about specifically commercials then with you and your role and what you guys do.
So I am not only a music supervisor, but I'm an executive producer. So I wear two hats.
Okay.
I started off as an executive producer. So I work at TA2 Sound and Music, and it's in Toronto. So we are a music house. So our main focus is commercials, but we do a lot of animation, and we do some films and some TVs, or basically anything that is audio related, we do.
Right.
So I kind of fell into licensing music. The company that I worked for previously, the girl that did their licensing had quit, and we were kind of stuck in a situation where we needed to license a song and quickly, and it was for a TV show. So I happened to know the publisher. She was my best friend. So I called her up and I said, look, I have to license this song. I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't even know what MFN meant. So she gave me a crash course, and I ended up licensing the song for this TV show. So then it just kind of blossomed from there. I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
So my position now as an exec producer and music supervisor, I guess I split my time equally between both jobs. So, yeah, does that answer your question?
Well, of course. What do you like about it?
Oh, well, like listening to music.
Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, listening to music every day is just such a treat anyway.
Yeah.
So, and you get paid to do that.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Does it ruin movies for you and commercials and TV shows?
Not necessarily. I do critique sometimes when I see a placement. I think, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Or that doesn't fit. But that's just a matter of your taste.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
yeah.
So I mean, that's I think that's the reason why a lot of my clients come to me, is they like my taste in music. And if they don't, they're going to someone else.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. If I see something that I don't like, it's bottom line, it's just my taste.
I always, when I am watching a TV show and there's like a really famous song, it always takes me out of the moment, because I start to think about how much that cost. That's what I'm always thinking. I'm like, wow, that sounds really like Bob Dylan. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that often happens. Well, I always keep my phone beside me too sometimes, because sometimes there are songs that you're not really sure what the title are, but you love the song. It's a good placement and you want to steal it and use it on something else. I'm forever Shazamming.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. I think one of the things about this topic that seems that draws people to it is that it seems easy. It seems like passive income for the artists, for the record labels. I think primarily because from a label's perspective, the music is already done, written, recorded, mastered. So this idea of finding more ways to exploit it after all the fixed costs are paid is really enticing. And I got to think that's wrong to think that it is easy.
As an outsider looking in, yes, I can see how it looks easy. You have a song, it gets licensed and you get paid.
Yeah.
The competition is fierce.
Right.
Because, earlier I said that there's, a lot of music, and there's a lot of opinions and a lot of approval parties that you have to go through to actually land on a particular song. So it's, it's not like that it's hard. It's just that there's just a lot of competition.
Right.
I think that when my clients are looking for up and coming indie artists, that's a lot easier to license when you know what your budget is.
Yeah.
Well-known songs, well-known artists. Clients usually, the term I use is they want those kind of artists, but and we call it champagne artists on a beer budget.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But occasionally that clients do have the money to license, well-known tracks.
But you're saying sometimes they actually want an unknown track.
Yeah, I am.
Very cool.
Saying that, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's where I have the most fun.
I bet.
Trying to find something that no one knows about and that fits, fits the brief.
Yeah. How does an artist or a record label, one that focuses on for me and most of our labels in our community, we focus on the traditional model of songwriting and releasing records and touring. How do they compete with composers who are at home waiting for a brief and compose on the spot? That's where kind of I feel defeated in a way. My priority is to write a great song, release it on an album. People play it on the record player on vinyl. It would be nice to have other revenue streams from that song. How do you balance that as an artist and as a label?
Oh, so that one's hard. So when you usually when a client comes to me and they want something custom that I'm writing directly with a composer.
Sure.
And usually music houses like myself. And other houses, we have composers on staff that we kind of deal with. Quite frankly, when we are writing music, it's because we don't have a big budget to license.
Right. Okay, I see.
And the budgets are small. Usually when, if we're going to reach out for, licensing, the fees are much, I have to say, are much more than what it costs to do a custom track.
Okay.
So
yeah, okay. And so, like, if I'm a label and I'm always thinking about multiple revenue streams, is it possible to? Because I know that a lot of the composers and stuff, there's a lot of people who live in that world, in that syncing world every single day. But for labels, we're thinking about retail distribution and we're thinking about streaming platforms, and we're hoping to have licensing be one of our revenue streams. Is it possible to do that and not necessarily have it take up our constant attention?
I don't know if I can answer that for you.
Well, yeah.
Everything kind of, it depends on how much work you put into it. Because I think in the beginning, you have to establish yourself as, here we are, here's what we're doing. So that's a constant reminder to people, this is what we have. So that's a lot of work in itself. And then keeping that up.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a hard question to answer.
No, it's fair. Now, a lot of our people, when they're thinking about this for the first time, they'll Google how to get involved. And more often than not, they come upon a website where it's either exclusive or non-exclusive. They upload their tracks, they sign everything away. And there are millions of them. I mean, is that a smart decision for a label or an artist to do?
It all depends. I think if you have tracks that, how do you explain it? That, B-side tracks, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I would suggest.
Okay. So not your primary songs. Like
not your primary stuff.
Oh, good point.
I would hold on to that. your B-sides.
Oh, interesting. Or just like your beds or something, or
exactly.
Very
That's
cool.
where I would recommend, because there might be opportunities there too. A couple $100 here, there, stuff, and it's money that you're not expecting.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
So
what makes a great track? Like, what are our clients? What are you looking for these days? What are the characteristics of a great track?
That's almost like when clients say to me, "Write me a hit."
Write me a hit.
It could mean everything.
Sure.
I mean, it all depends on the brief and what we're looking for.
Yeah.
It's so different than what what I listen to personally.
Okay.
It's so different, and what I consider a hit.
Yeah.
Personally. Is so different from what makes a great track syncable.
That's a good point. What are the differences then? Like,
and here I go back to my.
I'm asking you 100 million impossible questions. I'm sorry.
No. I think for like if you want to get a sync, I think some of the best things to know is that. You got to watch your language.
Okay. Okay.
For commercials.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
And sometimes even the name of the band, you have to be careful.
Oh, right.
So, because you might have a really great song, but if the name of your band is Shithead, and a bank, the banks are going to go, well, I don't really want to.
Babies Are Us.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And really, for commercials, it's just like a catchy hook or the chorus is really it.
Yeah.
So, and also, again with advertising, you're also looking you have to edit to make your 2-minute track into a 30-second. Track up against a spot. So that's usually in advertising kind of what we're looking for.
Right.
It's easy to edit songs.
Well, I was going to ask, what are some of the things that we as record labels can do to prepare for when a supervisor calls us and wants to use a track?
So they've already picked a track. Is that what you're saying? And they're calling you?
Yeah, let's say. And so to make sure that yes, that's right. And to make sure that like I have everything you need to get it off to you because you're always in a hurry. Right. Yeah. What can we do to be prepared?
So really all I need is an instrumental version and a full version, like the full vocals and everything. So some music supervisors like to have stems, but I think that really just having the instrumental and the just that is great for me.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. And I mean, just going back to your world, is there something unique about music for ads that's different from film and TV in your mind, or is it the energy? Is it just the emotion, or are they very similar?
Yeah. So with long format film and TV, I always find that when we're looking for a song for film and TV, we're looking to score the emotion on what's going on in the scene. So, so whether you're happy or sad, or you want the viewer to feel something, you're really looking for emotional songs for long format. Okay. And commercials, I mean, that part's true too for commercials, but commercials, it's really about the lyrics.
Oh, I see. I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, because you want to identify the lyrics with what's going on, what you're trying to sell. You kind of always want to have, they can't be bang on, because nobody likes in our world of commercials that they can't be exact, but to have a nod to it and it's related.
Right. You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I was just doing an interview with an artist from Arts and Crafts a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me that he tries not to cater to his or alter his songs to make them more syncable. At the same time, he tries to never use a person's name because he knows that's like, game over.
Yeah, well, I'm the different music supervisor.
Oh, really?
You use Christine in your song? I would totally.
Oh, good point. I've never thought of that. I've never thought of that. I'm going to have a whole record to you by the end of the week.
I love it.
That's so
I think
funny.
there's only actually one song written about me.
Oh, really? Oh, I got I'm
Christine the Strawberry Girl. I think that I can't remember who the artist was at the moment.
Yeah. No.
In the Banshees. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, sorry, I digress.
No. But that is true. But that's very interesting that you said about lyrics, because I mean I hadn't really thought about that. I'm always thinking about the emotion and the track and the production and the instruments convey. But that and that's funny because you have sent me briefs before, and I've seen it wants to contain this type of messaging, and I thought, wow, I've never thought of that.
Yeah, I think it was Canadian Tire I sent you a bunch on as well.
Yeah.
And you were shortlisted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's not talk about that, please.
I know.
No, I'm joking. I want to ask you, and I'll let you go, but I have one more question, and it's about relationships, because a lot of people say, as I'm doing this research, that it's a who you know in a way, and you don't want cold calls. You don't want necessarily a lot of these people don't want to be sent MP3 files and all this stuff. How do you start to build a relationship? I don't even know how we met, but how do you begin that organic process of knowing a supervisor, knowing someone like you?
Marco? Well, first of all, I'll tell you how we met, and then I'll tell you what I think might be the way, to get to know people. So we met because a creative director had liked a song that was in your on your website,
right?
And so he sent me your website, a link to your website, and then I just started going through all your artists and listening to songs, and I was like, wow, this
that's amazing.
So
okay,
impressed.
I remember that. Yes.
And so that's when I had reached out to you.
Yes.
And then so that's how we met. And so sometimes, getting to know somebody is just by, I don't know, crazy situations like that, happenstance. But for me, because I do get a lot of music sent to me, I think I actually do like getting music sent to me. And usually I don't always have a chance to respond.
Sure.
But that's not to say I'm not listening to the music. So, I guess I think one of the best things to do is sometimes even just sending a unique email, not long, wordy or anything like that, with a crazy picture or something that, that's something that kind of catches my eye. When I go, hey, these people are cool. Let's see what they have.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to build relationships, but I'm also on a lot of panels. So, and sometimes we have Q&As and I get to see who I'm chatting with. So that's another way that I've been able to develop relationships. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess it takes time. Really. That's anything organic takes time. Yeah. Mm. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This has been, I got to go back over this. It's very enlightening. I know our audience is going to love it. I'm surprised a lot of your answers were kind of
counter to what I've been reading online. Some people don't want to receive emails. They don't want to meet people.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm different that way. I know that I've been told that. How do you have the time for it?
I love it. Well, thank you.
My pleasure. I'm happy to do it. It's nice to hear your voice again.
Thanks for listening. To find out more about Christine's company, you can go to TA2music.com. That's spelled TA and then the number 2. TA and then the number 2 music.com to find out more about them. And I hope you've enjoyed my interview with Christine. What a genius, and so many great insights on this topic of music licensing for advertising specifically. I'm really hoping you get a lot from this series on sync licensing. Make sure you download our free guide to sync licensing by going to otherrecordlabels.com/sync.